Welcome to Reporter Room, where we seek truth and justice. My name is Jessica Davies. I'm an investigative journalist. Today, we're going to discuss the case of Brian Laundrie, narcissistic personality disorder, and suicide. I'm not diagnosing anyone in this video. Also, everything I'm about to say is my opinion, so please don't send any hate to anyone, anytime, anywhere. Let's be good to each other. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the notification bell because this case is moving super fast and I don't want you to miss anything. Stephen Bertolino, the Laundrie parent attorney, has stated that the autopsy was inconclusive, and by that I mean that we weren't able to determine how Brian died. However, I do want to address narcissistic personality disorder and suicide. Many people believe the myth that people who are narcissists never commit suicide. Although they are less likely to commit suicide, the fact that they never commit suicide is not the case. They do, and they can. Let's talk more about that. People with narcissistic personality disorder are extremely focused on social rank. They need to be admired and recognized by other people to feed their narcissistic supply. They require attention without criticism, and they hide their empty shell to conceal their vulnerabilities behind a mask. With someone like Brian, it's unlikely that he would have harmed himself because he felt bad about what he allegedly did to Gabby Petito. Narcissists don't feel empathy that way, and strangulation is not an accident. It takes a lot of time for someone to die. It takes 4 to 6 minutes to kill someone, and that's the minimum amount of time by strangulation. So it's unlikely that this would have been an accident on his part. The narcissist would have to be concerned about their social rank and their reputation, and in this case it would have been damaged by the fact that there is international media attention on this case. And so a narcissist would find it really difficult to lose the admiration of other people, especially the entire world, who has seen who he truly is behind the mask. And remember, in Brian's case, the mask was used to fool the Moab police, who decided that it was Gabby who was the aggressor. The mask was used to fool the Petito family, who believed that he was going to take care of Gabby, protect her, and keep her safe. So the idea of having his mask ripped away by the international media would have been horrifying for a narcissist. It would have been a trigger because narcissists value status and success. They need to be viewed by other people as important and successful to maintain their grandiose image of themselves. Being viewed by the world as a murderer would be humiliating for a narcissist. Brian would have felt humiliated and vulnerable. So Brian may have felt that there was no way to recover his reputation due to the international spotlight on his actions. And to be clear, Brian again would not have felt any empathy toward Gabby or for Gabby, and his actions proved that. His actions showed that he cared little for Gabby and her family. He left Gabby in Wyoming. He drove her van back to Northport. He used her credit card to steal from her, allegedly. He took her cell phone and went to his parents' house. Once there, he got a lawyer to protect his own reputation. He ignored Gabby's parents' pleas for information about Gabby from September 1st onward, so for days and days and weeks, possibly, depending on how long he survived. And his actions repeatedly showed that Brian was concerned about Brian. He didn't feel any empathy for Gabby or her loved ones. If he felt sorry or was grieving, it was for himself and for his own reputation. So people who feel remorseful don't go off camping with their family for the weekend to Fort DeSoto Park. We know now that the Laundrie parents and Brian were ignoring calls from the Gabby Petito parents, begging for information about where Gabby was, wanting to know if Brian had Gabby with him. And his ability to just turn his back on them, it was callous. Narcissists tend to blame their victims. They tend to be controlling and often dominate others when confronted with negative feedback by other people. We saw this on full display on August 27th in the report that we heard about Brian at the Mary Piglet Mexican Grill. August 27th was the last sighting that witnesses have of Gabby being alive. We know that Brian returned multiple times, at least 3 to 4 times, back into the Mary Piglet to berate and belittle the hostess to the point where she was reduced to tears. And this is an effort on his part to try to dominate and control her. Narcissists set incredibly high standards for other people. They will often demand perfectionism, something they don't even demand of themselves. They will demand that of other people. And this is something where that they use to feel superior to others. And we can see Brian's sense of superiority, in my opinion, in his Instagram posts where he refers to people as primates. His contempt for other people literally dripped through his social media. And we know what narcissists already have a fragile self-worth, a fragile self-esteem. So while their mask is important, and while narcissistic supply is important, having the world see what he had done to Gabby would have been perceived as a narcissistic injury, and narcissistic injury can lead to suicide. So while we don't have results from Brian's autopsy, it didn't reveal a cause of death, we do know that his remains were skeletonized. And for more information on decomposition, you can check out my video, Brian Laundrie, What Really Happened, and I will link this for you in the description below. So what do we know? We know that Brian was last seen on August 12th by witnesses who called 911 to report that he was seen slapping Gabby. We know that Gabby was not seen alive after August the 27th, when Brian flew into a rage at the Mary Piglet Mexican Grill. We know that 2 people left on a van life trip, but only 1 person came back. We know that Gabby was strangled, and we know this act takes between 4 to 6 minutes and sometimes longer, depending on how much force is used. We know that the act of strangulation was manual, it was throttling. So, although authorities have not stated yet that Brian killed Gabby, we know that he was the last person to see Gabby alive, and this means that he would have had his mask ripped off. So we know from the Laundrie family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, that Brian's remains are being sent out to an anthropologist. And I believe what that means is the remains are being sent to a forensic anthropologist who would have the ability to tell us how Brian passed. So hopefully we'll get some answers from the forensic anthropologist. We're also awaiting DNA results. I will bring them to you as soon as I have them. I thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.